It's Thursday, July 22nd, 2010, and this is the Morning Swim Show. I'm Jeff Cummings, filling in today for Peter Bush, and today in the Phoenice Monitor, we'll talk to senior writer John Lohn. A couple of weeks ago, he wrote an article about Kate Ziegler and Katie Hoff and their resurgence on the swimming scene, and as we get ready for Nationals next week, we'll talk about those two swimmers as well as Chloe Sutton, who John Lohn wrote about for the August issue. And John joins us right now in the Phoenice Monitor from North New Jersey. John, how are you doing?
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to see you. So this column you wrote on swimmingworld.com about Katie Hoff and Kate Ziegler, I think it was really well timed because I think a lot of people are going to be looking to them as to be kind of the two big comeback stories of Nationals. And we'll start with the fact that both of them made really drastic moves from the East Coast over to Southern California to train with the Fullerton team. Katie's now training with Sean Hutchinson and Kate Ziegler's with John Urbanchek. Talk about what you think has happened with those two now that they're over in Southern California.
Well, I think what happened was they came back from the Beijing Olympics, and while Katie came back with a few medals, things didn't work out the way a lot of people thought they might, and maybe how she thought they would. Kate, meanwhile, came back and didn't make a final in either the 400 or the 800. And I think what happened was, they had rough 09s. Both were, dealing with some illness at times. They needed a change of scenery. Katie and Bob Bowman at NBA, in North Baltimore, it was time for her to get a bit of a change because that wasn't, clicking on her end. Kate just needed something different. And I think, sometimes you find an atmosphere change or just a change in philosophy, a change in just anything that can spark a little bit of a rehash of what the past brought. And we know they had great ability, and they just needed something different.
And I think also they were both so young in '08, and I think they might not have been expecting all that came with being on the Olympic team, and with Kate, being world champion in '07, and now she had to face her competitors in '08, and also the fact that Katie Hoff was now swimming the 800, and I think she had kind of not expected Katie to be on her turf as well. So with the age and then just the fact that they didn't do so well in '08, obviously was a big thing that they need to make a change of scenery. But, of all the people that were on the Olympic team, I think, I think a lot of people were thinking maybe that both of these girls wouldn't be able to come back because they had so much adversity in '08 and '09, and maybe people were thinking that their time is up, but they've obviously disproven that this summer.
And I think it's a great story that we're going to see unfold here in a couple of weeks. First at Nationals in Irvine, and then provided they both make it at Pan Pacs. It's a feel-good story. We know how talented these two are. I mean, they were teenage world champions, world record holders, and it was just a matter of rekindling and finding that spark again. And I think in the tune-up, that we've seen here, obviously with Katie going 157, a 405, Kate going an 825, 800 free. They needed a little bit of a momentum boost going into a Nationals, into another international meet, and that's what they found here this summer. And now it's a matter of can they take this and really flourish on the big stage again, as far as the big stage is for 2010, Pan Pacs being the United States' biggest meet.
And also, not just physically, I mean, obviously they're training very well, and we've read that Katie has definitely had to rearrange kind of her training philosophy. I think she's doing less yardage than she was used to under Paul Yetter and Bob Bowman. Let's talk about Katie a little bit. Yeah, you said 157 and 405 in the 200 400 freestyles. I think a lot of people weren't expecting those times from Katie.
Not at that point, and I know I wasn't. Maybe a 158 high for the 200. I did not expect to see 157. Great sign for the United States also in terms of relay, with that 800 free relay. That is just a very promising time. 405, about 3 seconds off of her American record. This was a very interesting swims for Katie leading into Nationals. She also went 212 for a prelim of the 200 IM, and you could have gone a little bit faster had she swam the final that night. She opted to scratch. I think what we're seeing is that Katie has bounced back and it has just a renewed love for the sport, and is things are clicking with Sean.
Yeah, it's going to be great to see how how well she races with her teammate Ariana Kukor in that 200 IM. I'm pretty sure that she knows that 200 IM is her baby. She wants maybe she knows she's not going to go 206, which is the world record that Ariana has right now, but she definitely wants people to know that she wants that 200 IM title back, definitely.
Yeah, and I'm going to be anxious to see when the slate sheets come out exactly where she's positioned. I don't think we're going to see her trying a 5 individual event slate, and I think that's better for her, that she can focus on a handful of individual events and put forth tremendous efforts in each of them rather than spreading herself too thin.
Now let's talk about Kate Ziegler real quick. She was obviously the big star in distance freestyle at the 2007 World Championships. She raced Laura Manadou in the 800. I think that was probably one of my favorite races to watch in 07. And as you said, 08, she had a lot of expectations put on her. She didn't fulfill them. 09, she had some illnesses and she couldn't compete at the Nationals. But this year, 825 in the 800 is just phenomenal. But next week at Nationals, she's going to have to face Chloe Sutton, who's been who's taken Kate's place. How do you see that race shaping up?
Well, I think those two, and again, I say we're not sure exactly where Katie Hoff's going to go here in terms of whether an 800 free fits into her schedule. But let's say it's Kate and Chloe. They're definitely head and shoulders now above the rest in the 800 freestyle. Chloe, I think, made a very good decision by skipping out on the open water. She would have been finding herself very difficult to manage both the open water, excel this week at the Open Water World Championships, and then have herself in top form for Nationals and then Pan Pacs. So I think we can expect the two of them to have a pretty good duel out in Irvine.
Now you've got an article about Chloe in the August issue of Swimming World magazine, and something that intrigued us when we interviewed her about a month ago is she said that she wants to be an Olympian in both the pool and the open water. Do you kind of see that as something that's feasible, given that she pulled out of Open Water Worlds because she wanted to do so well in the pool? I mean, she's got to obviously be ready for the demands that are going to be put on her in 2012 if she wants to make the Olympics in the pool and open water.
Right, and a lot of that, I believe, comes down to the calendar and how things work out. I don't have the 2012 calendar in front of me, but if the Open Water World Trials and how the U.S. team will be selected for that complements the U.S. trials in Omaha, there's no reason she can't handle both at the Olympic Games themselves, just because of how the open water event will follow the pool swimming.
I think it's really telling of how challenging it is to do something like for the women the 800 and then come back to the open water. Will probably be 2-3 days later and do a 10K. When Thomas Lures told us that he is definitely not going to try to be on the German team in the 1500 because there's just no way that he could mentally, physically get himself ready for basically two totally different disciplines.
And Chloe has a great outlook on how she's handling these things. She talks about her love for open water. She talks about her love for the pool. And I think she wants to prove that, hey, she can excel in both areas. And right now, let's face it, she's done that in the open water. The pool, while she won the Grand Prix circuit there, she wants to really make an impact internationally. And that comes with making a podium. And this is where her focus is now. And I find it really, a credit to Chloe that she wants to now branch out and say, okay, let me leave my mark now in the pool and then balance both of them, a couple years down the road.
Well, these are three swimmers we're definitely going to be watching at Nationals in a few days, and I'm sure you will be, John. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in just a few days. You're going to be talking with Garrett McCaffrey on Split Time, doing a more comprehensive Nationals preview.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jeff.
All right, that's John Lohn, Swimming World Magazine senior writer, joining us today in the Phoenix Monitor. That's it for the show today. I'm Jeff Cummings. We'll see you next time.